All right, we're here at the top of Culps Hill with a memorial to General George Sears Greene. Now, General Greene was 62 years old at the time of the battle, the oldest Union general on this battlefield, but he still had the vigor and youth of a young man. You see, General Greene would be in command here on Culps Hill, and he would tell his men to build the breastworks that they built that helped the Union Army win this battle. Now, remember, he was a trained engineer. He once helped build Central Park in New York City, here at Gettysburg. He was fighting in the Army as a relatively old man. And yet, he had, as an engineer, he told his men, if we cut down the trees and use rocks and dirt, we can build a wall 5 feet high that'll protect us when the Confederates attack on the second and third days of the battle. Now, the Confederates will come up through the woods. As it's getting dark out here, there was very little fighting in the Civil War at night, but the Confederates would come up through the woods as men of the Union Army here were behind breastworks. They'd come up with a yee-haw. The Confederates would attack, flames of bullets, walls of bullets firing up at the Union Army. The Union Army would fire back, fighting behind these defensive barricades. Up and back and up and back, gun smoke everywhere, sheets of flame. And soon the Confederates couldn't see each other, and they started to shoot each other here on Culps Hill. They'd go back down to the bottom of the hill, never able to break through the defenses of the Union Army, thanks to General Greene. But they'd come back again the next morning, the third day of this battle, with 10,000 men. They'd fight hard here, but by the third day of the battle, the Union Army will send reinforcements. They'd arrive here and they'd slam into the Confederates and drive them back down the hill. At the end of the day, the Union Army will hold this position, and it'll bring the Union Army victory, because if the Confederates had gotten Culps Hill, they would be able to overlook the town of Gettysburg, put their cannons up here and shell the town and the Union Army over on Cemetery Hill, not far from here. So we have General Greene to thank. He was the engineer who built those breastworks. Now, after General Greene left Gettysburg, he went out west to fight in the American Civil War, and at the Battle of Wauhatchie, he nearly had his face blown off. But he continued to fight, and he lived a long life. He survived his wounds. He continued to fight even though he was disfigured. And he died as a very old man, almost 100 years old. And when they buried him in Rhode Island, and they took a rock off this battlefield and put it on his grave. And that rock would become his tombstone, a rock from Culps Hill on the grave of General George Sears Greene. And here's another story. George Sears Greene had a son named Dana Greene. Now, the most famous naval engagement of the whole Civil War was the Battle of the Monitor and the Merrimack, the ironclad ships that fought in March of 1862 down at Hampton Roads, Virginia, down near Norfolk. At that battle, his son was in command of the northern warship, the Monitor. So the Greene family was prominent in American naval history and American Army history. The Greene family. All right, so we're going to leave Culps Hill, and we're going to take a look at some other parts of this battlefield. But at the end of the day, after 3 days of fighting, the Union Army was able to hold this high ground, and that high ground meant everything and helped them win this battle.